That's it. So once more, for the fourth month of this year, I'm really, really proud to welcome my new guest. Sorry, I'm the host, Catherine SKEGGS, and for my live chat, which is taking more and more the shape of a podcast, really, but which was really designed originally to give that temple of light, those 69 members, a time to meet one another, to know a bit more about one another, and to learn from each other. Okay, so we had beautiful, beautiful conversations in the past, namely with Liz, who is here tonight, which really brought a lot of wisdom and incredible. I remember Kate being like this and listening to to Liz's story, very fascinated with all that she said. So we are not only supporting one another, we are learning and inspiring each other. And that is the nature of the light chat, really. So that much said, for whoever is going to watch it on the replay, if you feel like you have something to share, and even if you're a bit shy about it, go for it. Look at us. The five of us are here in our full benevolence and ready to listen. So tonight I am welcoming Catherine and a very city adventurer. I love that name. I really love, you close your eyes and you can put anything behind it. But really, what I love about Catherine undertaking is that she is going to tell us about the capacity to recreate your life once the nest is empty, once you get closer to early retirement and retirement than you would like, because the wheel of time is ticking for all of us. We have no choice. We have to gracefully take it on board. And Catherine came with this idea that, okay, I'm going to keep going, but I'm going to do it in my own terms, if I may say that way. So I'm really looking forward to interviewing her and for you to discover what went on into that beautiful mind to come with this very original idea, really. What I love as well about that is she's talking about transitioning, and we do many transitioning in life, but that one is a big one. It's a big jump for a lot of people, because we come from a culture where people didn't live as long as we do nowadays, and we don't really have a blueprint to a certain extent. People thought of it, or the level of consciousness was different. And now we know we have to extend our lives, and we have to enjoy it as far as we can, and as long as we can. So today, Catherine is going to enlighten us on what she's done for herself, as I said before, and what she offers as a solution. It's not the only solution, but it is Catherine. So that's what we're going to honor tonight. And on not feeling lonely after a certain, so as I said, empty nester, early retirement, we're talking post 55, not feeling lonely, not feeling that no one needs you anymore, having the capacity to be still physically active, mentally curious, and ready to be playful, and keep those neurons going. And then the capacity of making new friends, like keep going and visiting new places. And that's the ability to plan your life, your life not being just coming to an end. So I'm going to give the floor to Catherine. She's going to introduce herself tonight, and very simply doing exactly that, tell us where you live, where you come from, tell us about your husband and your kids, and so forth.
Thank you, Florence. Thanks for having me here. So I'm Catherine Skeggs and I'm married to Ian, and we have two children, two grown-up children who are both married now. Our son got married last Monday. So yeah, we really are empty nesters now. Our daughter married 7 years ago. Um, I live in London with Ian, and our daughter lives in Essex with her husband, and our son lives in Southampton with his wife. We don't have any grandchildren. Um, whether we will get some in the future, I don't know, but we're not hanging our hopes on them. It's up to them. And in the meantime, we are rebuilding our lives as empty nesters and as retirees, semi-retirees. I'm not sure what the phrase is really. um, we have gone through various transitions, and the idea that you're going to reach this stage of your life if you're lucky. For those of us that live long enough to see retirement, it's a fantastic opportunity, but it's not always seen as a fantastic opportunity. For 1 minute, you are head of industry, someone well respected in your particular field, and then suddenly you're retired and it's like you don't exist anymore. You were suddenly head of the PTA and running your kids to all different activities and helping them with their homework and helping them with dance classes or whatever. And suddenly you're not needed because they're off doing their own things. And it is a sudden turning point for a lot of people. And so I help people go through that transition and see it as an opportunity and not as something to be feared, and as something that you can embrace and find the joy from.
Okay, so what was your inspiration? Where did you learn, or um, was it something that came directly to your ideas, your mind, or did you learn it from somewhere really? What was the I know the
You
answer.
know what the answer to this is. Yes. I actually got it from my mother. My mum saw a lot of her friends and family going through this stage and them feeling that once they got their kids raised and they were off, that their life was over until the grandkids arrived, and then they could have the next generation to look after. And I saw a lot of people who suddenly hit the 25-year mark, and it's, well, we've done our bit, but who is this person I'm married to? And there was no connection there because they've been so focused on raising the family, they lost sight of each other. It happened with various friends of ours, various family members. My mum said it wasn't going to happen to her and dad. She was determined that she was going to plan ahead for it. And so that's where the inspiration came from. I knew that I was heading towards that, and I intended that we were going to plan towards it as well. We were going to keep an eye on each other. We were going to do things together. We were going to have a plan for the future, and this was going to be fun. Having said that, the lived experience is not necessarily what you planned. Life has a way of throwing you curveballs. And although my mum and dad were together and did lots of things together, my dad's health wasn't that good towards the end, and so they didn't do as much as possibly they would have liked to have done. I always wanted to retire early. My husband's 6 years older than me, and so the idea was when he retired, I would take early retirement. We would travel the world. It would be fantastic. Not entirely what happened. He got forced into early retirement, which was not good. There wasn't the gradual winding down that a lot of people would like, where you know that you're heading towards that and you would like to work part-time for a while and then gradually cut the hours down and cut the responsibility down, and then gradually go off into retirement with all your hobbies intact and your plans in place. Didn't happen. I thought I would retire early by my choice. It didn't happen necessarily by my choice because I was a games master at the end, and I had to take early retirement because I couldn't do the job anymore. So, yes, I did get what I put out there manifested, that I wanted to do this, but it wasn't really my choice at the time. However, I did carry on with running treasure hunts in London. I did start up City Adventurers, and the plan was to help people transition into a new fun experience going forward.
So the way you're talking about it is before bringing people over, you had to bring yourself over that transition, you know?
It's because I'd been trying to run it when I was in my 50s, and saying when people are over 50 and they're heading towards retirement and they're heading towards empty nest, this is what you need to start planning. This is the plan to put in place. And it's not until you really get there that people get it. And people then say, oh yeah, I wish I'd have put something in place beforehand. I wish I'd have thought about this beforehand. And it helps to have someone go through it and say, yeah, there is a way out the other side. So I think that helps.
And tell us about the first few groups you started, because you had a fair bit of learning in terms of, you just didn't just create City Adventures and it wasn't a clean cut. You went through a whole path of
I
figuring
tried
out.
lots of different setups. Yes, I
Tell
tried
us.
originally saying it's for empty nesters, and I attracted lots of people who were living in lack and who were very much glass half empty, that look what I've lost, rather than look at the freedom that this gives me. And yeah, they were very sad people, and they didn't want to try anything new. They just wanted to reminisce about what they lost. And that wasn't the sort of group that I wanted to be organising. I wanted to have people who were looking for the fun and the joy in life, and who were saying, okay, I don't have to do the school run anymore. I don't have to do running the kids here, there, and everywhere. And now I've got time for me. I wanted people who were saying, well, okay, so I'm not going to work 5 days a week, but that means I've got time to spend in my garden and look around garden centres and go and visit gardens and get really into horticulture and that sort of thing, that they were willing to express themselves and explore things. And that's what I wanted.
Yeah, so the early years really help you to design city adventure, but also to hold a certain frequency and a certain intention so that the people who work with your mindset found you really. So it was still helpful to build those first few group, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, it was like I don't know any births that are not messy. Like, let's say that way. So yeah, that's good. What I like when I talked to Catherine, because I didn't know at all what she was doing. And so it's Catherine and Ian is really very much in the background as well as part of a creator. And he's telling me about, oh yeah, and we design on Miss Marple, and we design on, I can't remember, and there was Miss Marple, what was it? Indiana Jones, and there was another character.
Yeah.
And it was
Indiana Jones, Miss Marple, and Einstein go into a
Einstein.
bar. They're the three types of adventurers. And they were fundamental to the book I wrote in 2015. They were, Miss Marple is obviously the detective not really a detective, an amateur detective who solves crimes.
Good one.
It was all to do with murder mysteries.
Yeah.
Ian and I have been writing murder mysteries for decades, and so that was obviously the first one that we started with. The Indiana Jones is the explorer looking for new places and finding artifacts, discovering history, discovering places. And that really followed on from Treasure Hunts in London. That I'd started, I went to university really late. I was a very mature student at 45, and I got my event management degree and came out and set up, well, invitation to events, supposedly to run murder mystery events. I ended up talking to corporates and saying, I can do this. And I've written a play, it's 8 actors, we can do this for you. And they said, yeah, we've done that. What else can you do? And I said, well, I run treasure hunts. So Treasure Hunts in London followed from that. And it's getting people to look at heritage, but going on an exploration. So it was either going around the streets looking at heritage, or it was going around museums and art galleries and looking at their collection. And they were all themed hunts. They were, we used to do a Halloween one at the British Museum where me and my staff used to dress up as witches and they had to follow a Halloween story and go around and find all the clues. We did an Alice in Wonderland one at the National Gallery. And I was actually banned from dressing up as the Red Queen because our daughter got a job there and didn't want her mother being seen as the Red Queen. But I did have Alice, so and they went around looking for clues around the National Gallery. It was a lot of fun and it gave me an insight into getting people involved. And that's when I found that people were quite up for doing these interactive things, but in their 20s and 30s. And although the people in their 50s really enjoyed it when they came along, it took a lot of courage to come along to these things and to throw themselves into it and take part. And they just needed that little oomph to get them over the threshold and go, yes, it is fun. Yes, come and enjoy this. So that was that thing. The Einstein and puzzle solving, my husband is very much a puzzle enthusiast. He's starting up his own puzzle museum online. He's got hundreds of puzzles. Little puzzle boxes. I mean, I'm not talking jigsaws, I'm talking real puzzles. And he builds them, he plays with them, he solves them. It's a very niche market. And from that, I suppose you get the escape rooms. And that was a new thing about 10 years ago. They were just starting to take off. And we started going and we were hooked. And solving puzzles in an escape room is fantastic. Again, I'd recommend it to anyone to give it a go. And the over 50s tend to think, oh, this is for young people, and I'm not sure I can do it. And won't I make myself look stupid doing this? And no, just go and have fun. Just throw yourself into it. In some cases, do check with the game beforehand and check accessibility. There is usually a workaround. If there is something in the room that you can't do, there is usually a way to work around it. Some of them involve things like climbing or crawling. And if you can't do that, they will usually have a way around, even if it means taking you out of the immersion and through the office and in a different door, but they will get you through it.
Let me pause Catherine here because she hasn't given the background story of why she's saying that. When we were discussing, the two of us, she was telling me, because I asked her the question I had for what are the benefits to your past clients? What do they say? And then Catherine came with two references, about one about the escape room, about a couple who went to the escape room, and then the other one was about the postal museum, and then the zip line as well, and the zip line being her own experience, and that's what she's explaining here. She's basically saying, you can come to what I'm offering because there is always an exit, a safe exit, or a way to get out of the sticky pot, not like what happened to her on a zip line experience. Will you tell us that? It was really cute,
Oh yeah, we tried going to Go Ape, which, if you don't know, it's a, a forest adventure. So you get harnessed up, and they take you up a ladder, a rope ladder, and then you go across all these planks and swingy things, and you go from tree to tree, and it's really exciting. They do warn you that you're high up, and most people would say, well, I don't like heights, I don't want to do it. Fine. But I wasn't afraid of heights. So I went, I did it, swung from tree to tree. Got to the final bit, you're on a platform and there's a zip wire down, and apparently that's the big payoff. That's why everyone does it, so they get the fun of the zip line. I don't like zip lines, I don't like slides. I said, how do I get down here without the zip line? And they said, you don't. Everyone goes down the zip line. Well, there's got to be another way down. I said, I'm not going on the zip line. And they said, well, the only way is if you could go back the way you came. And I went, oh, okay then. And they went, you've got to go back down the ladder. And I went, yeah, that's fine. So I went back, swinging back through the trees and back down the ladder. And then I found out that the only way they can get you down if you won't go back is they have to get a cherry picker to come and manually send someone out and then collect you that way. And they were very glad they didn't have to use it.
And that's what, so Catherine was saying, no, everything where we go to and what we design, we don't need a cherry picker. It's
No.
always safe on the 50s and the 60s and beyond. The action can actually come very safely and enjoy. And I really like, so because it was really one thing is, well, what have you past customers said, and have they benefited, in your experience with you? And I really like that story about that couple who came and the husband was rather reluctant and the wife was
Yes.
all for him. So go on,
Yeah.
tell us that story.
Because escape rooms are an unknown quantity, really. There was a couple that came with us to one, and the wife really wanted to come. She was really up for it. But the husband was very reluctant, and he was worried that he wouldn't be able to do it, that it was a bit scary for him. He came along, we did the escape room, we escaped in time, and he had such good fun that he started going to other escape rooms. And then it was his birthday a couple of weeks ago, and he insisted on taking the whole family to an escape room to celebrate his birthday, which shows the power that once you've tried it, you are hooked and you will try it again.
Yeah, go on, keep going, sorry.
I mean, I took a couple of old school friends to another escape room, and they sat in the waiting room saying, we're the oldest people here. Yes, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. And they had such a good time as well there. It is a lot of fun once you get into it, that you sort of forget where you are and what you're doing. And in some ways, it's very mindful because you are concentrating so much on solving the puzzles and living the experience that you forget everything else. You're not looking at your phone, you're not wondering what's happening on Facebook or wherever. You are just concentrating on, I've got to save the world by disarming this bomb or stopping the zombie or whatever it is that you're doing on the mission. But you're just so engrossed in that takes over everything.
I mean, you do have to still applaud the gentleman, the husband of the story, because he went for it, and
Yes, you did.
sometimes
Yes.
within a relationship, one can actually, the needs of one another changes with time. So it's still great that he went for, at least for his wife to start with, and then found his own enjoyment in it. So it's good. But beside escape room, you really offer many other modalities, and I like the one of the Postal Museum. Like those two are so quirky, like
Well, that,
the bus route in London with the picnic basket. It's just like, it's so fun, it's different level. Go on, tell us.
the Postal Museum one is the other way round. That I decided we would go to the Postal Museum, and we took I took I took a big group of men with me because the ladies didn't want to go. They thought it was not for ladies. And the men came back and raved about it so much that when we did another trip there a couple of weeks ago, the ladies came along. And at the end of the day, they were saying, "Oh, that was so much fun. I really liked riding on the little rail train that took all the mail under London. And yes, it was really good. There was a dressing up section, there was a film section. We all sat and watched the film about cats. It was so fun that, yeah, they just really enjoyed it, and they haven't realised that sort of thing was there.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's brilliant. So, um, really, it's like Liz puts it to her note because she had to go,
Mm.
and she says, really love the fact that what is I love your sense of adventure and how you share it with your hobby, and really that's what I saw. Like the two of you are together, and you with your strengths and all your liking, and you said, okay, what's next? And you really went to do things that ticks your own box, and that's what I like about it. You're not trying, you're the first recipient of what you've created, and that's wonderful because it's such a good way to pass on, and to transmit to others what you do, because you're the living proof of it, you know and I think it's really good. So let's say tomorrow you're meeting a couple of people, and they're slightly reluctant about, do they want to come to one of your adventure or not? What would you say to them? What would you genuinely say?
I would say come along and try something. You don't know if you're going to like it until you try it. Come with an open mind, come with a sense of adventure and curiosity. Whether that is something so off the wall that you're um, being chased by Cybermen and trying to save Doctor Who, which we have done, or whether that's or whether that's just we're going to have a look around Guildford, again, something we have done, and you're just going to find out what there is there.
Mm.
Um, because you don't really know what's in a place until you go and until you have a look round, and it can be that you've spot something that you weren't expecting. So it doesn't have to be quirky. It could be just something really ordinary, like, and we're going to look around a stately home. And then you discover something you weren't expecting, or a story behind the house, or something in the garden that you weren't expecting.
But
And
that's what you're kind of saying, is you
yeah,
not offering. You told me when we were talking, is that if I go to the theater every night, I'm bored. So
yes,
I need novelty, and I need a variety, and which is great because it means for people who are looking uh, to recreate a social life outside of their environment, and wanting to explore a bit. Here you are, they can come to City Adventure and look at the array of things that you do, because you're not only doing escape room, and you're not doing only museum, or you're not only doing visit into stately home. You actually cater for the curious mind, I feel like saying,
yes, yes, it is for the
isn't
curious.
it? Yeah, and that's, I think, ultimately, the more I listen to you, that's what I got, is this lady is saying, hey, keep yourself open, keep your mind open, keep yourself curious, keep yourself youthful.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and isn't it?
Yeah,
That's,
just try new things, and you don't have to do them again if you don't like them, but at least give yourself the opportunity to try it.
yeah. So tell me, with all that, so really we established it from the beginning. It's looking at that transition of recreating your life after work, after being a parent, and now, uh, and you've been doing it for how many years now?
Oof, over 10.
10 years, it's about 10 years. So when we
About
hold,
10 years.
yeah, about 10 years, when we hold a baby like that, we hold a project, and it's obviously changing with time, but do you hold an aspiration or a dream? Where would you like to bring City Adventure and yourself? Because ultimately you are City Adventurer. You
Yeah.
know, in the future, where would you like? Is there something like a mission, like a yeah, like a mission that you feel like you have through City Adventure?
I want to grow the mailing list for City Adventurers. I've got quite a lot of people on the mailing list,
Okay.
um, but I want to keep the actual adventures quite small so that it's much more personal and it's much more you're coming with me or I'm going with you, so that you get the personal touch and you experience it together. Um, as Treasure Hunts in London, which was a business, and I did have clients. I have run treasure hunts for 70 people around the National Gallery and 150 around the city. And you need staff and you're employed and you're not part of it. It's not something that you're enjoying. You are employed to do this for people. So I want it still to be me and I'm experiencing it and I'm experiencing with you. Um, so in that sense, I would like City Adventurers, the group, to grow, but not the actual events that we run. I would still want to have a maximum of 20. Um, escape rooms tend to be about 6 people at the most. Murder mysteries, we now go on to other people's murder mysteries usually, and it's about 8 to a table. So small groups like that. And then I would also like, which is more esoteric, my mission is to get people who are approaching this transition in their life to plan for it. That it's not a sudden fall off the edge of a cliff. I know when I was saying this to people 10 years ago and saying, I want to do this for the people who are about to retire, I want to do this for empty nesters. And they say, all right, mature people. All right, so you're looking at nursing homes and you're thinking, no, you don't go from being I am captain of industry to getting your gold watch, retiring, and suddenly going to a nursing home. You've got 20, 30 years or so, 40 possibly, that you are still vibrant, you are still active. Yes, things hurt a bit more and you can have health niggles, but in the main, you have this vast amount of time that you have to fill with something purposeful and that's fun and that you enjoy. And to say, well, what do I do when I retire? There's a lot of people, even if they do plan for retirement, they'll be planning, have I got a big enough pension pot? Can I afford to retire? What's it going to do financially for me? But they're not planning, what am I going to do with my time? How am I going to make friends? I'm losing all the friends that I used to have at the office, and suddenly I've got no one. I'm losing all the status that I was head of finance or a bus driver or whatever. And suddenly I'm retiree. And where's the status in that? And they haven't really thought about it. And you need to have something in the pipeline that, yes, I am going to be a city adventurer who travels the world. I am going to be someone who does this. I am going to be someone who's really into gardening and does lots in my garden or takes up knitting or whatever. But have a plan, have something that you're looking forward to, um, so that you don't fall off a cliff.
Yeah. So it's like you still feel like there's a bit of a taboo that no one wants to think of or to talk of that time of
Yeah,
life where I stop functioning to a certain extent
yeah,
with my name and my status as a working as a professional and as a parent. And yeah, so it's like um so it's engaging you yourself, engaging your company, and engaging others, or the creating a big movement. That's what you're talking about,
yeah,
really.
yeah, yeah. You still have people, you still have women who do not want their husbands to retire because what am I going to do with him? unless, unless he's one of these men who has a hobby like goes golfing, and then he can hopefully go golfing a lot.
Yeah. We were
He's
talking,
going to be around the house. What am I going to do with him?
yeah,
You know, and it's he has to have a plan, just like you have to have a plan.
yeah,
And there's only so much housework you can do.
that's it. And we were talking offline when the first time we actually started talking together, and
Yeah.
I was giving the example of one of my mother's friends where they hit the 60s, and he just wanted to rest. He had been a truck driver all his life, traveling all the time, and for him, arriving in the 60s, for him, it was just, I just want to be in the garden. I just want to be home.
Mm.
Whereas for her, it meant, it's like more in the spirit of what you're describing. I just want to get going. I want to go on a walking trip to discover the Mont Saint-Michel because it was in France, or a trip to Paris or whatever. And what I loved in that couple is they respected each other's need.
Yes. Yeah.
So she could go for a few nights off doing what we call, one of those greenways in France, and he was happy going home, staying home, and then she came back, and life get going, and they had that ability to redefine and recreate themselves and their relationship,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, which was also very nice, I thought. And I think I'm saying it because um, even if you're in a long-term relationship, and although the story with the escape room and the husband and wife happened to work really well for him, but it's also okay for a long-term relationship to say, okay, you know what, go and enjoy yourself, and I do my bits, and we meet again. And that's also another way of aging together by respecting each other and being interdependent instead of breathing into each other's neck, ultimately, you know?
Well, once they come back together, they've got something to talk about as well, haven't they?
Exactly,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's the same for the person who is on their own all the time, because that's what I see a lot. There is only one person staying after a while, and there might have been a separation, and it's so hard to recreate friends. You mentioned it earlier on, and to have a social calendar and looking forward to doing things, other than what's already been established. For Saturday I'm going shopping, and on Wednesday I'm doing my cleaning, and so forth. On Thursday I'm going to the hairstyler.
yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's beautiful after a certain age to expand, to keep young, and to keep the brain going. I mean, ultimately our health is also the age of our neurons, and it's important to keep them going. So yeah, so well done. Well done.
It's also quite nice if the group is quite small, because if you've got 40 people and most of them are couples and you're on your own,
Yes,
it's very hard to break into that.
true.
So you really, if you're doing that sort of thing, it helps if it's you and a friend rather than you and your partner. But if you are literally on your own, it's very hard to make friends. Whereas if there's 20 or less of you tend to form a group, the 20 of you, and people will keep an eye on each other and will look after each other. I found that yes, you might want to watch the film on cats, but your husband can then go off and have a look at the engineering side and talk about valves with someone else. But you don't have to go with him. You can sit here and do this bit of it, and they can go off and do something else. And if you're on your own, and you can just tag on to the people who want to watch the film on cats, or tag on to the people who want to talk about valves, and no one worries because you're all within that group of 20. It's not like, well, who is this person? I think I saw them on the coach, but I'm not sure. Are they part of us? And it's much more friendly to get together.
Yeah. So I know that you do have a newsletter. You write a newsletter for all the story, all the adventures you had, and which I think is really good because it's a great way to inspire people and to help them figuring out what they would like to do ultimately, so that's a fantastic one. And when I will be posting this interview, I will actually be writing down your website, because everything is found from your website, from all your social media to your newsletter, if I'm correct. And do you have a blog? Did you say you have a blog? No.
Yes, I
have
do.
a blog, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, because we started off writing the murder mysteries, we started off with the murder mystery website, and that's still going, and that is dedicated to murder mysteries and all things murder mystery, and has a murder mystery book club on there. And then City Adventurers is a separate one. It's becoming our main website, and it deals with the adventures. And the blogs also go off of both of these websites. So it will tell you what we've been to and give you suggestions of places to go.
Oh, brilliant. So really, if you're listening to this replay, it can be actually in a Temple of Light, or actually I will be posted on my YouTube channel. And Catherine, you're very welcome to have that interview. Know that if you want to understand a bit more about what Catherine and Ian do, just go onto their website, go and visit their blog. And of course, Catherine is, I'm sure, more than willing to answer a few questions if you contact her, with any request you have. Actually, I had a last question. Have you ever had anyone contacting you for creating an event for them? So let's say you have the 60th or the 65th birthday of someone, like of a wife or husband, it doesn't matter, or brother, and have you ever had anyone say, "Oh, I heard about your company," and this, because it's more than a company, it's the spirit that you carry, and I really would love you to create an event. So my brother likes this and he likes that, and has that ever happened? Not yet.
It has in the past. It has. I was asked to write a murder mystery for a hen party.
And you see.
Yeah, yeah. So I did that. I can't remember what it was called. I remember it had hens in it because it was a hen party, and yes.
Yeah, because that's actually also very fun, to be approached and to tailor a whole, and you might actually be able to recycle, upcycling it or recycling it for someone else later on, but it's actually, so I'm putting it out there. If you want to create a fun birthday party for someone, or retirement party for over a weekend, please contact Catherine.
We do have a community fundraising murder mystery available. If anyone would like to try it, we have run it a couple of times. It is called Blood Arrow, and is about someone who is developing a medieval theme park. Yeah, and the idea is that you find a compere, someone to be a compere, but you don't need actors. You get the audience, and the audience picks someone from each table to play the parts. And they've just got a couple of pages to read that will give them, you know, who killed Sir Basil Root
And
with
I
the
know
blood
when
out.
yeah, and I know it's my last, very, very last one. But you are, although you're based in London, you
Yes.
also don't do, you go abroad outside of London, don't you? You travel, because I think I have seen before you were up in the north.
Yeah, we've
Yeah,
recently been to York, we've been to Peterborough,
isn't
we
it?
go to
Yeah, I'm not
Southampton.
mistaken. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
really, so it's also good to know, because it's nice to know that you can actually move, that people don't only think, oh yeah, but they're based in London, so that's too far from me. You actually move around. You're like almost like a circus, the two of you. It's like
Yeah, we do go around the country, and we do, because the mailing list goes all over the country.
okay.
Um, once we go somewhere, we say, "Oh, and we're all going to be in Peterborough next week, and who's around?" And
Yeah,
people turn up there. Yeah, so
okay. Very cool. Okay, is there anything you want to add on, or can we wrap up? Are you happy with and any last little bits that you have?
um, I can't think of anything at the moment.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
keep the variety going.
yeah.
Stay curious. Keep trying new things, and
And keep having fun. Like I was,
yeah, keep having fun.
yeah, I found when the first time I took to Catherine, because when you don't know someone, it's like, God, she's very, there's really that in her eyes, there's that childlike light still, and it looks like, okay, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. So, yeah. Yeah, so wishing you the best of luck, and I hope this little interview will help as well for you to be known a little bit further, if nothing else, inside our own Temple of Light, where in this next week, we are having our Joyful July is the theme of our gathering. So you see, we're
Oh
not
well, that's
and in Joyful July, we're going to have a bit of a poem, a bit of an oracle reading, and possibly a little bit of dancing joyfully. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to do something very light-hearted to just to fit the weather, to suit the weather, and keep useful and curious and open. So we aligned. We are aligned. Thank you, Catherine, for being here tonight. It was
thank
really,
you for having me.
and I like how we touch on a topic in a very joyful and light way, but we're actually really touching a topic of that is deep and very relevant to today's society, because I know there's a lot of people on their own as well. So if they can hear you, if we can touch them tonight, it would be lovely, because there's a lot of wealth to be together and to be part of an event that breaks the routine and makes us feel a bit more alive. So thank you for that, Catherine.
Thank you.
All right, so best of luck. Thank you, Kate. I'll thank Liz. Liz is gone to work and Alexandra, who is in a mountain in France, enjoying a beautiful break. So thank you so very much, and we shall all get in touch soon.
Thank you.
Take care. I'm just going to stop the recording. That's it.